It's kind of hard to sing some of those songs this morning without feeling a little choked up. I think they kind of reflect what's weighing on everyone's minds. And as I was thinking about an opening, my thoughts turned there as well. I just wanted to read a few verses this morning out of Proverbs chapter 20. Chapter 20, verses 6 and 7. Verse 6 says, "Most men will proclaim every one his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? The just man walketh in his integrity, his children are blessed after him." And then verse 11 says, "Even a child is known by his doings, whether his work be pure and whether it be right." So these verses are alluding to something that I wanted to share with you this morning. It's a sobering time as we think about loss and also life gained. And in that, and with that, comes a lot of self-reflection, thinking about us. When I was a teenager, about 16 or 17 years old, I had a best friend, same age as me, just a couple months different in age. And it was a pretty selfish and self-absorbed time in life. And one thing that we both did and both kind of thought was funny in each other was making fun of our siblings for entertainment, and that all came at their expense. And we usually compared notes about life at home, what it was like to live under our parents. And I remember my one friend, he thought it was real funny. He had brothers that were a lot younger than him, maybe at least 11 years younger than him or so, and he liked to provoke fights in them, and it was kind of funny to watch them bicker. And then, of course, my brother was closer to age than me, and it was just fun to, insult him or poke fun at him. And both of our parents, his parents and mine, and as we would compare notes, we found out that they were giving us, unbeknownst to each other, my parents and his parents, the same advice to us. And the advice was, and you have to understand, and I think a lot of you will, but like in that culture, when you're 16 or 17, you've got about 2 more years at home, and then you're going to leave. You're going to be gone. You're going to go away to college. You're going to move out of the house. And their advice to us was, both separately, that you're going to leave behind a memory for your siblings. And it's up to you what they remember. Are they going to remember somebody who was a bully and selfish? Or are they going to remember someone who was kind and respectful and a good older brother? And that just really struck me. It was interesting to me that our parents both gave us that kind of advice. So that thing that they were concerned about, how people would remember us, sometimes we call that a legacy. And you don't have to pass away to leave behind a legacy. All you really have to do is leave. And I think when I think about a legacy, and when I was thinking about what it means, I kind of think a legacy has 3 things. When we think about legacy and how it's used, so it kind of has these 3 parts. Now, the first part of a legacy when people think about a legacy is something in the material. And then, as part of your legacy, so you have this material category, but then you also have the memory that you leave behind. And memories can either be positive or negative. So sometimes when you think about the material part of your legacy, it can involve things like a cash inheritance. It could also be, if you were somebody given to hoarding or pack ratting, a house full of garbage. Somebody's going to have to sort through that. That becomes part of your legacy. I brought a little bit of show and tell with. I have somebody in my life that I talk about, maybe too much, and he's no longer here, and so he's left something of a legacy. And here is part of his legacy. I think I talked about these before. These are on loan. Can everybody see that? Anybody know what plant that is? It's poison ivy. It's a wood engraving of poison ivy. Here's another one. I think some of you will get this one. Anybody know what that is? What's that? They maybe go by another name too. I'm not sure. Maybe not bleeding hearts. Dutchman's breeches. Here's one more. I think you guys will get this one. Can anybody see what that is? It's a mayapple. Yeah. Part of the legacy of my father. And I'm borrowing them to share with you. I have a legacy. A little bit of an odd legacy. It's in this bag. Someday, when I pass away, somebody will have to figure out what to do with this. Does anybody have a guess about what's in here? Any of the children know what's in this little tiny bag? Huh? No? Oh, it's tiny. Anybody know what that is? No? That's a good guess. Human teeth. When I was about 17, I had to have these removed. I thought they were worth keeping. Someone's going to have to figure out what to do with that someday. But on a serious note, we do leave things behind that are material, and they weave into these other two, both the positive and the negative. Positive things that people remember. People may remember that you're kind or that you're patient, that you had trust in the Lord. Or they may remember that you were somebody easily frustrated, maybe given over to anger. Maybe you were a smoker or a tobacco chewer. Maybe you were a gossip. And I wondered this morning if some of the children could help me. I wanted to write a name up here and see if we could come up with a little bit of legacy for some of these people. So let's start. I don't know, maybe I'll write it in a different color. Let's try this name. Can everybody see that? What kind of legacy did Solomon leave? Did he leave anything in this category? the material. What do people remember him by? Any of the children know? What did he do while he was alive? Yeah?
Very wise.
Well, he was wise, and I think we can chalk that up here in the positive. So how about wisdom for Solomon? Okay? How about any category? Positive things or negative things? Anybody? Okay, maybe a questionable ending. Foolish. Andreas, what do you think? Ah, he left a palace behind. Somehow that palace feeds into these other two as well. Anybody have any other ideas? Let's try another one. How about this guy? There's a somewhat controversial figure. What did that guy leave behind? I'm not sure he had any material. What do you know about Samson? What did Samson leave behind? What was a good thing about Samson? What do you think about when you think about Samson? Oh, he gave a secret away. Boy, I'm not sure where to put that one. Negative, okay. Okay, gave away his secret. Anybody else? Samson. Brought freedom. Left a legacy of freedom. He was a leader. And I think he accomplished some positive things. Maybe his leadership. Okay. Oh, somewhere there are locks of his hair left behind. Okay. That man had unparalleled strength. Yeah. One of the most notable characteristics about him. Okay. Weakness. Oops. Pardon me. In women. Okay. Oh yeah, vengeance. Yeah, he did do that. He was a judge. Let's go like this. Okay. It could have been, I mean, yeah, that's right. But it seems like it kind of had positive and negative, kind of a complicated portrait, a little bit of Samson. Yeah. Maybe a wandering from the law. Wandering loyalty. Let's try one more. These may be a little more complicated. How about the Apostle Peter? Any children want to try their hand at, boy, what could he have left behind? Material things. Something you can put your hands on. Fishing nets. What do we have today? Yeah, what do you think, Peter? He left some writing behind. Okay. Okay, so through oral tradition to Mark, we have the Gospel of Mark, possibly. Put a question mark. What did Peter do a good job of? Keeping what? Keeping some, what's he saying, Walter? I want to make sure I get it. Okay. Okay. Peter's writing, yeah. So maybe we have some instruction from that. That's part of his memory. Okay. Okay, so a legacy of prayer. Okay. Yeah, there's some pretty unflattering things recorded about Peter, huh? Humility. Okay. Is there anything over here? Dare we put anything over here? Denied the Lord. Denial. Okay.
Hardly be fair to put that there without putting, confess the Lord in the repository.
Confession of the Lord. Okay. Rash in a negative way and bold. Okay. To his end, so he became a martyr. Faith. Can I call that faith? Raising of the dead. Sure. That's positive in anybody. Repentance. Okay. Let's do one more. Yeah. What about you? Children, if you were to take a trip today and you left, and you didn't come home, what would everybody at your house remember about you? Or moms and dads? What would our children remember about us? What would your spouse remember about you? What about your church community, your brothers and sisters of the Lord? What would be your legacy there? Now, I think that we can all have blind spots, and there may be things that people would come up with if they were to fill out a legacy chart about you that would maybe surprise you. But I also think that if we're being honest with ourselves, we could probably get a lot of the things filled out on this chart ourselves. I think we'd do a pretty accurate job of filling in those blanks. Jesus dealt with some legacy issues. Specifically in Luke chapter 12. Verses 13 to 23. And one of the company said unto him, Master, speak to my brother that he divide the inheritance with me. And he said unto him, Man, who made me a judge or a divider over you? And he said unto them, Take heed and beware of covetousness. For a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth. And he spake a parable unto them, saying, The ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do, because I have no room where to bestow my fruits? And he said, This will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said unto him, Thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself, and is not rich toward God. And he said unto his disciples, Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, neither for the body what ye shall put on. The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment. Jesus wants us not to focus on that first category. And yet I think we could say that it is a legacy to have a lack of things in that material category. That is part of a legacy. It doesn't have to be the abundance of things. It could also be the absence of things. He doesn't want that to be our primary focus. But he does want us to focus pretty hard on this positive category here. Things that we could leave behind that will have a lasting impact to those around us. In Matthew chapter 6, he says, Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon the earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about what people will remember about me and what my legacy is, I think maybe I've got a few too many things over here in the negative category. I think maybe I'd like to do a little bit of polishing still. Try to work on how people will remember me. For some of us who have moved here from other places, we have a legacy. We have a legacy that's largely complete unless we move back and start to pick up life again where we had come from. There are people who remember us for our deeds and for our actions, for the way we behaved ourselves in the places where we came from. So you don't have to pass away to have a legacy. You can have one now. But working actively on our legacy is in the here and now. And we can keep forging that legacy and working on that legacy. Now, as we've talked about this legacy, it's something in the rearview mirror, right? Something that we leave behind us. It's the way that people around us remember who we are. The things that were positive about us, the things that were negative about us. Maybe we hope that in this positive category we'd have some of Norman's Christian manners there as the things that people would remember. But think about this. Does not our legacy also pave our way into eternity? So when we go, there will be things that we leave behind here that are going to steer us somewhere into eternity. That's what I had to share this morning. And God bless you all. Anyone's free to comment.
Yeah, I would just add on to... Hello? Is it on? Just add on to a few of those comments there at the end. Like you said, we can keep working on our legacy. We can keep improving it. It's not like we have an option of working on it or not working on it. As long as we're alive, we are working on it. Like the legacy continues to build, whether positive or negative. And as far as the material side of it, like that material side will, I dare say, all translate into either the positive or the negative in one way or another. That's all I had to comment.
Max just made mention of Luke 12. And I think if we put it in modern language, like my brother just did, Jesus said, don't hoard on earth, but hoard in heaven. So that's all I'm going to say.
I'm surprised that nobody, well, I guess I'm the first one, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But the greatest legacy we could all leave is, Jesus said, by their fruits you know them. Qualifications for elders and deacons is godly children. The best legacy, it's material, like Brother Will said, it's going away. But our children and grandchildren is a legacy. God says, Abraham, well, I know he's going to raise his children. The greatest legacy we have is laying aside our children, deacons and elders. Unless they have godly children, they're just deceiving themselves or deceiving a flock that would put them in office. But our children are our greatest legacy. To me, it's in the class by itself. And as far as a negative thing for me, well, I examined myself. But last night, my wife and I I said, I want you to listen to this. And so it was a testimony of a worldly man. He was a great athlete, probably the greatest one of the greatest athletes there was. And he's from Serbia. He was from Serbia. Well, his parents were from Serbia, if that means anything. But he had it all, and he wanted to commit suicide, and he was a millionaire. He had it all this and like this. And he's dead now. But I won't mention the name. After this thing, I can tell his name. But he mentioned he went to a campus crusade, and it was out in California back in the 70s, and Bill Bright was there. But he heard this Baptist preacher named Adrian Rogers. Some of us are familiar with Adrian Rogers, maybe anybody know. But this Baptist preacher said 3 things when you preach the gospel. You're going to make people mad, sad, or glad. And I think that I do a pretty good job of that. I usually make them sad and mad, but I want to make them glad if they have a pure and honest heart, and I want to work on that. But mad, sad, and glad. The Lord be magnified.
I'm curious, what's the legacy of your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather?
I was just thinking about my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. I'm not sure how many you said. There's no record of him. I think this is the tendency, unless things are written down, our legacy will fade away. And like those teeth that Max has, he thinks they're worth keeping. His children probably much less, and I think his grandchildren probably won't even want them anymore. And that's just how things work. Even pictures work that way. We have pictures and we think, oh, this is a really good picture. After the people don't know it, it fades away. I'd be interested in seeing one picture of all my great-great-great-great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers and maybe their brothers and sisters. I'd be interested in seeing that, but the general tendency is it fades away. Now, if you make a record and gets recorded, then that legacy goes on a long time. Can. But, so the Bible is one of the bigger ones. Well, there's lots of history around, though. There's lots of history of different men, but if one of us gets martyred, there's a chance it'll get recorded in many places, perhaps, and it will have a bigger impact all around. But for most of us, it's a fading thing on this earth, and after a few generations, it's gone. What we thought was very important, it's just all gone. I guess that's all I had.
There are some legacies that only seem to be important to people at specific times, or like it might not be that important to a lot of people during your lifespan, but then they find it later, whatever it is, and I think it's really important to pay attention to. And I think it's kind of like if anybody knows the artist Vincent van Gogh. I heard a description of his life's work, all of his paintings during his life would only really hold about as much value as like if he had sold his entire life work, could only afford to get like a sofa and a couple of chairs. But then there's a lot of people today that find him to be like very valuable, his work, and it kind of carried through. But during his life, it didn't have any meaning. It didn't hold any value, and he died a very poor, lonely man. But yeah, I guess just to say, like, some things will speak through, but I think Walter's point about having it recorded, whatever it is, might be important to remember.
Thank you, brother, for sharing that. I was waiting for you to put the name of the Lord Jesus up there. he's probably the one that would fill that middle column right up, and there would be nothing on the negative side. If a person was honest, though there were lots of accusations people had against him, it says he was without sin. He did the Father's will perfectly. On the material side, apart from the legacy of salvation he brought to humanity, I don't. He was without family, without child. We have no record of his direct descendants and the life they lived, other than we are all a part of his family by adoption, and that legacy is still being lived out, the Christian legacy. And we have God's promise that it will endure to the end. As far as his carpentry tools or his mode of conveyance or his bank accounts, we have zero records of those. We don't have any record that he even had any of those. So that's a challenge. Very thought-provoking.
Yeah, I appreciate the thoughts too. Very challenging. It's more comfortable to think about other people and what their legacy might be than when I turn it around and think about myself and what I might leave behind. But I think it's needful to think about it and to work on it in a positive way, as Brother Leroy shared. Rick's comment made me think about, I don't know for sure how many greats, but my great grandpa's name was Michael, and he did something that affects where I'm at today. He got on a ship and came to America, and I just thinking about that made me think, like, whether we know it or not, like, probably your great grandpa did something that affects where you're at today. And when I thought about that, I thought, like, I'm doing things, making choices that will affect generations after me, whether they ever know my name or not. It'll have an effect, probably, even if it's not a big one or not an important one. I don't know that it's not that important that I'm here in the United States, but I am because of him, I guess.
Yeah, thank you, Max, for sharing. I do think legacy is very important. The legacy of Jesus, for one. So he didn't get put on there, but he already has his legacy. We're making ours, and the things we're doing. Each one of us have to look at ourselves, and like we've been encouraged to, or maybe I guess so. To look at ourselves and just recognize what the choices we are making are going to have a bearing on people. That it's just something we have to face. What that all is depends on what our decisions are. And some people make bad choices, and they end up, that's their legacy, if I got it right. and people make good choices, and that's going to be theirs. And then there's, of course, battles and things that go back and forth, and we have victory over certain things, certain sins, and these are all written down, or can be written down. So if I have it right, I think legacy is very important to consider what we're leaving behind, because I was just thinking about just moving here. I think would be a more prominent step in a direction that my was it descendants will have than if I'd stayed with the Mennonites. I think it'd be very different. And I trust that, and I believe that the steps I've been taking were towards the light and truth and righteousness and freedom and liberty in Christ. And I want to even grow more in that. I want to pursue that even more and press more into that. And whatever that ends up being, time will tell a story that we don't know at this time. Yeah, but it's very important. May God be with us.
Thanks, Brother Max. I appreciated it too. My thoughts kind of went towards the direction of what Rob said about the artist. It seems like there's a lot of people in history that before they died, they weren't really recognized, and then after they died, people really praised them, and like there was something about that. My thoughts kind of went to Jesus, how his testament, like it says, a testament is not without force until after the testator dies. Or I'm not sure that's exactly the same thing, but it's kind of like, it kind of steered my thoughts in a certain direction. But there's a song, I'm sure some of you have heard it before, but the point is, like, when somebody dies, you know, we say all these things about them afterwards, and we go to their grave and we put flowers on their grave, and you know, we speak well of them. But the point of the song is to do that while they're alive. Just be in their lives, you know, the same way that you would after their death. I'll just read the song because maybe I'm not articulating that properly, but it's called "Give Me the Roses While I Live." Wonderful things of folks are said when they have passed away. Roses adorn their narrow bed over the sleeping clay. Give me the roses while I live, trying to cheer me on. Useless are flowers that you give after the soul is gone. Let us not wait to do good deeds till they have passed away. Now is the time to sow good seeds while here on earth we stay. Give me the roses while I live, trying to cheer me on. Useless are flowers that you give after the soul is gone. Kind words are useless when folks lie cold in a narrow bed. Don't wait till death to speak kind words. Now should the words be said. Give me the roses while I live, trying to cheer me on. Useless are flowers that you give after the soul is gone. Give me the roses while I live, don't wait until I die, to spread the roses over my grave to see as you pass it by. Give me the roses while I live, trying to cheer me on. Useless are flowers that you give after the soul is gone. Yeah, God bless you.